I was talking to a loved one a couple of days back, and we were having a heated exchange where she said that, "Why are you this way?" And in reaction, I also said, "And why are you that way?" So we had a heated exchange, and we were on the phone, and we disconnected the phone, and then there was silence for some time. But next day, she met me, and she said, "I don't know why I said that. Why I said, why are you this particular way? Why don't you be the other way?" Now, that was such a deep insight that she received. Only an instrument tuned to the universe can have that insight. Which means she's connected to her deepest self. And in that spaciousness, she had this realization that people act and behave in certain ways because it is their conditioning. And conditioning is God's will, or let's say, cosmic law. It is futile to ask this question, why are you this way? Because there is no answer to this question. We just are who we are, what we are, whichever way we are. And she had that insight before I did. But it got me thinking. It got me into deep reflection to see how deep that understanding went in her. To accept that people are a certain way because of their conditioning, and that we are totally powerless. We would like them to be a version that matches our imagination, but that does not happen in reality. We cannot make anyone into a version that we want, we imagine. And even if they did become that version, we may not actually like them. Because we truly, truly, and deeply like people for who they really are. Ramesh said that having a power over another to win an argument, let's say, may feel better in the moment, but it will leave you with a very hollow feeling later on. He said that the greatest victory is when one understands or accepts oneself totally, with the understanding that there is no individual doer of anything, that everything is an happening. He used the term divine happening. When this message is understood, it sort of brings about the true power, the power of peace, because then there is no confusion as to how other person should be for acceptance to happen. The acceptance happens unconditionally. It does not mean that we get along with the person or that we, be in a relationship with that person or in a friendship or an association with that person. All it means is that we accept that this is how he or she is. And to experience the divine love, the love that is the substratum, that understanding is sufficient. It doesn't mean we have to get along. It doesn't mean that we have to align ourselves in a particular way so as to appear pleasing for them. It doesn't mean that we have to change ourselves or change them. That is all futile. Trying to change anybody, trying to force a change on them, trying to force a change on ourselves in order to meet anybody else's expectation is again futile. So when this acceptance comes about that there is no doer of individual, that conditioning is God's will, and everything is happening according to conditioning, there is no point of any resentment or any differences. One can still have their preferences as to how or how much a person would like to interact with another, what kind of association or relationship they want to have with another. But deep down, they feel free themselves because they feel quite sufficient in themselves, knowing that even they are a programmed instrument. So there is nothing to change other than to simply allow things to happen as they are happening. In the observation, sometimes insights happen and a change may happen. In fact, from what I've seen, changes in relationships happen when one simply gives up the idea that the other should be a certain way. And that's exactly what happened. The moment my friend told me, my loved one told me that she saw me this particular way and she was caught up in the moment, and then she accepted me the way I am. And trust me, sometimes I'm not very nice. I can be quite a troublemaker. But she was kind. And I said that, of course, I feel the same. So that restored harmony between both of us. And then we could work on our respective tasks without worrying about what I'm doing or what she's doing. And that brought about a sense of peace. That brought about a sense of harmony. I see similar things happening even with other relationships, like with a parent, with a child. Now they may say, a child may say, you are irritating because you do this thing. And if you just smile at them, you're just telling them that, okay, I hear you, but I am who I am. And when they accept that, and children, their level of acceptance is actually quite high. So they just drop it quickly and they're like, okay, that's okay. And they just accept totally. And they say, it's okay. Sometimes we grown-ups, because of our hard conditioning, the stories that we have spun around, stories that have told us that people should be a certain way for us to accept them, for us to love them, we get caught up. We try to control, we try to change, we react. Even a reaction, a force is basically an attempt to control and change. But when we see that that doesn't work, we come back to ourselves. Why am I needing this? What is it in me that is not accepting this? So the problem, the source of the problem, then is inwards. It is pointed inwards. And when it is seen for totality, there's actually no problem. It is just the way things are.